Hello, 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 and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon, here on Squidcraft, Liara's patron server. So last episode we went and built up the moss farm that you can see behind me, and I have done a little bit of work since then, and have added a bunch of different pathways all around this place. So each of these different lines that I have on the ground here represents something different. So if we take flight, you can see that we've got some tuff here as the main road, as well as dirt for paths, prismarine brick for big water features, and regular prismarine for rivers. Now, I also have a little bit of calcite here to mark out some of the bigger buildings, which we will work on at a later time. But we aren't going to be working on any of those today. Instead, we are going to be working on a dye farm. So I have gone and marked out this area right over here for our dye farm. And I have gone and marked out the corners of the building that we are going to be putting here. Now, before we can start building up the walls for this thing, however, we kind of do need to get the farm in. So first off, we need to clear out this section. And what I'm thinking is we are going to have a very simple and decorative flower farm. Around the outside of the center area, we're going to have a section for 2 tall flowers, as well as ferns and tall grass. Right up in the front here, it'll kind of bulge out right here. And I think the other thing we're going to have is a cactus farm right in the middle. So let me go clear this whole space out that we need, and then I will be right back. Alright, so we have a nice big pit here dug out, and we are basically all ready to start setting up for a cactus farm down here. Hopefully I've made this the right size. We need 3 there, and then 2, and then we're just going to alternate that. Now I think, because we're going to have sand there, 2 cactus and a glass. I think the cactus should still grow on top of that. Well, we'll find out here shortly. I only have the 2 pieces of the cactus right now, but we will get more as it grows. Let's put that on there. So let's stick that there and there. Yeah, that's about it for this. I think that should suffice. We just need to put in the water streams that are going to flow into the collection channel. Put a row of buttons to prevent it from actually dropping into the collection channel. And put in the collection system that's going to push it into some droppers and carry it up to where we can actually use it. So now that we have all the sand in, we can get the water. Thankfully, string is not destroyed by water streams. So we can just fill that all in. And delete our staircase that we had to get out. I still need to put the buttons down here. I don't have any button materials. Let's go grab some stone. Okay, so buttons acquired. We can stick them on there. And that will decrease that. Let's grab a bucket of water so we can flood this area. That way we can put in the water stream for this channel once we get this blocked off here. Okay, so water stream goes there, and that will just push everything down to here, where we will have a dropper there, and then 2 hoppers pointing into it, because I can't be bothered to make another water stream for that short of a distance. And then we're just gonna dropper pillar them up to the top here, where it's gonna go into a barrel. Now we'll have a barrel on the other side to mirror it for our flower farms. So now with that completed, we just need to get the redstone in for that dropper vader. and get the iron bars in for the cactus, which I'll have to check to make sure that it will actually be able to grow once we put the glass part of the floor in. And hopefully once we get this all full of cactus, it should produce a good amount. Now, I'm probably only going to really keep a barrel. I don't know how we're going to get rid of the excess. I'll have to figure that out later. This is going to take quite a while to fill up that barrel. But on the outside here, we're going to have blue glazed terracotta. It's going to just form a nice little pattern along the outside wall. And then the middle is going to have a stained glass mural. But we can't really get that in until we get the cactus all in. So that part is going to have to wait, and we're going to have to deal with this pit that's evidently Endermen are going to drop into. Do you just not recognize empty spaces for fall damage or something? Weird. But with the cactus farm done, I guess it's time to go and get the stuff set up for the flower farm. So I'm going to get the basic structure in for that, and then I will be right back. Alright, so I have the basic structure of the farm here in. We just need to get some of the walls and such in, and all of the dispensers that we're going to need. Because each of these indented areas here are going to have a different flower. So we need a dispenser here for bone meal. And we'll just do orange tulip, allium, blue orchids, cornflowers, oxide daisies, and lily of the valley. And that should give us all of the dyes that we can't get from the too tall flowers or cactus and sea pickles, which will definitely be helpful, especially with how many stained glass pixel art things that I keep wanting to do. Now we are also going to have a water stream that goes around the outside here, which is where all of our flowers are going to be knocked into. And it's going to run from here all the way around because this is our cactus chest or barrel. Now to end our water stream areas, I'm going to put some jungle trapdoors. And that's just going to provide us a nice little ending that's decorative and also allows us to access these barrels. Now inside the water stream area, we're going to put some trapdoors along the top layer of grass. And that's just going to prevent the water that I'm going to use for knocking the flowers into the water stream from flooding the collection channel and preventing anything from being collected at all. Now with that in, we need to add stairs over each of our flowers. Then again, right here in the middle, it's just to keep the water from flowing outside of each individual unit, because if we don't block those off, it starts causing some problems with how the water flows. And let's add Amanda, and we will have a stair there, which will just prevent water from going in, reaching the other areas here, as well as flowers from jumping out of their own specific section. Because I have decided I want to use water. I know this is not the most efficient or effective flower farm, but I decided I wanted to do something that was more for the looks than the actual flowers. Because beyond stained glass, I really don't use that much for dyes. And I also usually only use the flowers for accents of color, so we probably aren't going to need a whole lot of them anyway. Alright, so I've got the rest of the farm in. So we've got this nice big glass wall so we can see all the flowers. And the interior design, I've got the dispensers with a water bucket in them. And that is what's going to wash all of our flowers into our collection chute, which has water in it now. Our cactus grew, so I've shifted that over. And the only things left are to put in redstone and apparently an escape hatch. Anyway, as I was saying, the only thing that we have left is to put in a upside down stair right here. Because if we don't, the water will just flow out of the dispenser right across the stair and down and won't knock off any of our flowers. And then we are also going to flip those up so we can walk around here. Going to have to do on the top. And that will just mean that when the water comes out of this dispenser, it goes here, flows to either side, down and around, and over the edge. So now we just need to do that for every one of these sections. And then this farm will be fully ready to have the redstone put in. So now that we have the interior of the farm done, we just need to add some warped fences on the outside here, just for decoration. And we also have some sections right up in the front here, which is going to separate our 2 tall flower farms from our cactus and our single flower farms. And we're going to fill this small space with some pink glazed terracotta. Now the reason we're going with the pink glazed terracotta is if we do it in the spin pattern here, it kind of looks like flowers. At least I think it kind of does. To be honest, it looks more like a fairy from The Legend of Zelda. But we'll go with flowers, and that will just kind of fill these sections in. Now on the outside of that, we're going to just mine out 1 row blocks and put some grass. And this is where we are going to have our 2 tall flowers, as well as some tall grass and some ferns, so we can easily get more of those. Now, I don't really need the tall grass, and I probably could just put ferns on both sides. Yeah, that's probably what we're going to do, because we can get grass off the moss farm. And now that we have all of that in, it seems like I have built the entranceway markers here 1 block forward. So let's shift those back to where they actually need to go. So the building part is going to arc out and over, and then get built across. You need to go 1 over, and I probably need to shift all of these back a block. But that's not too big of a deal, if I can actually place the right block. Now there is 1 small section in the front here that needs to be filled. And I'm thinking of doing some quartz here, but I'm not quite sure. I may just get some more pink terracotta and smelt that up instead. But this farm is basically done other than the redstone and the outer wall. So I'm going to go get the ladder marked out, and then I'll be back once we are ready to start putting in redstone for this area. Alright, so we have the basic structure of at least the front done. If we go around to the side, you can see not much else has changed. Other thing we have is we have all of our plants here in, and our cactus is fully grown, which means it's time that we put in the floor. Now we've also added in some calcite for the entryway, and we also have a hole in the front of the building here to fill in with a stained glass window. But let's start with the floor for the main central area, because that'll make it easier to move around in here. So we're going to start by getting the floor in here first, because it'll make it easier to move about in this center section. And we're going to start with a solid line of light blue glass. And then we're going to use the red to make up the main body of the art, because I kind of want to do a flower, because this is, of course, a flower farm. So apparently we can put glass on top of cactus and it won't break. I find that a little weird, because it'll break if there's anything to the side. But okay, and we should probably get the iron bars in before we seal this whole thing up. So let's see, can we place it on the second one there? Good. So I think we're going to start with just trying to get the basic ones in, or at least the bare minimum iron bars. That way the farm is actually somewhat functional. I might put in the rest later, but I don't really know. But this should also get a good number of them in anyway. Oh, that is the wrong spot. Good thing we picked up some of that cactus. Ow. And now we have to figure out how we're getting out of here. At least placing these iron bars should be a little bit easier, because now we can just go from below. Alright. Now to escape after we count. There we go. Okay, now that that's done, let's get the rest of this light blue line in and fill in the top section there. And then down out of the middle, we're gonna, let's go from this side because it'll be a little easier. Use some lime. And then just do diagonal there. And another one. Nope, not there. This is gonna suck. Hopefully we can actually get our glass back. Okay, good. We got it. And now we gotta get out of here again. And fill the rest of the area with light blue glass. Alright, so now that that is in, as you can see, we kind of just have a little pixel art of a Minecraft poppy. Which one did we put that in? There we go. That one. Except this one happens to be red. Now we can stick levers on the sides here and here, as well as one off from our flowers on the back side here, because we can't put two levers on the same space. Now before we do the redstone section back here, I think what we're going to do is fill in that picture window on the front. And for that, we're just going to make a small little allium pixel art to designate this as the flower farm. And you can definitely see that better than the moss farm one. And I think this looks pretty good. We do need to get some fences in for detail work, because I really like how those looked on the guild hall. So I'm hoping that for this big building, they should do about the same thing. And there we go. Even with the little bit on the sides there, that definitely helps to break up the flat walls on the side of the building there. I may get rid of some of the patterning on the walls eventually. I don't quite know. It might look better just as solid, smooth sandstone, but we will leave the patterning for now. Alright, so now that we have the floor in, we can put in the redstone. And for that, we need to go 3 blocks. And we're going to have our little clock here. It's just going to be redstone torch, powering a block, redstone repeater on 1 tick, going into a block with a piece of dust under it. And that's just going to be shut off by that, because we don't need it on right now. And that is going to go 2 blocks. Going to switch to glass. And it probably would be easier just to build this up from the bottom. So, power our bone meal dispenser, which we'll put a piece of bone meal in there because that's all I have on me. Nav repeater, 4 ticks. And we will put a piece of redstone dust behind that, which is where the power line will lead into it. Let's do our water circuit as well, because that will affect how this is going to go. Because this clock will power the dispenser for our bone meal, and then that repeater, and that observer, which will be observing a piece of redstone dust. Let's break that block before we just dump a bunch of water through there. Okay, crisis averted. So now we need a piece of redstone dust there to connect the water system in. And now we just need to connect the bone meal in, and this should be functional. And make sure we actually use the right pickaxe to collect the glass that we misplaced there. Then that should connect the redstone dust on there. Looks alright. Can't really test it very well with just the one piece of bone meal. Let's go grab some bone meal and test this out to make sure it actually does work. Alright, bone meal acquired. So now we can actually run a decent test on this machine. Now, if we turn this on, yep, we get flowers. Not very many, so I may have to fiddle with timings again on this, because I think it's firing the dispenser a bit too quickly. And there's not enough time between when the water gets collected and when the next bucket gets put out. So a bit of fiddling with repeater timings later, and we did not find any combination that really worked well for that. I may have to add some more redstone circuitry to slow it down or something. But it works for now. But we now need to repeat that for 5 more units. And then we need to get the cactus farm set up. We only have 2 in here right now because I put those in there directly. And, oh, we got extra dirt. But we now have orange tulips in case we need orange dye or just orange tulips because, let's be honest, we can scatter those around our base and add a little bit of color. I'm going to go stick a couple of these over by our lake, and then I'm going to go finish boating up the rest of the units. Alright, so all of the systems are in. Now I don't quite have bone meal in all of them quite yet, but half of them have 1 stack of bone meal, which is the tulips, the blue orchids, and the cornflowers. So we can just flip our lever. I have to flip it twice because of how the water works. So for right now, we can just get a bunch of those flowers if we want to. I'll fill the rest of them at another point because I'm not in a horrible need for flowers right now. I also decided to actually put iron bars between the different cactuses. I think it will stop them from jumping onto the other cactuses. Not that I really care. And I set up the system to push them all the way up into this barrel. So we now have 18 up there. And I am quite happy with how this has turned out so far. And this is now effectively done, redstone-wise. I just need to finish the building, and then we will be done. So I'm going to go take care of that, hopefully get the roof in on this place, and then I will be right back. And there we go. We now have the rest of the walls in. And I'm quite happy with it. Let's actually go around the outside first. So we basically just got the same pattern that we did on the front, on the sides. And then coming around to the back, copied the pattern once again, but in the middle, since we don't have the stained glass window, I decided to go for this kind of vine and flower sort of effect, which I think turned out okay. But inside, we have a wall in, and we've got deep slate tile roof. I decided to go for birch fences along the top of there just to give it just a little bit more open feel. I might make a fake roof over the center section here. I don't quite know. Probably not, although it would be a good way of hiding the redstone as well as getting a little bit of light in here, which I could just hang lanterns from the ceiling up there, but I still need to get a door in, so we can't really go back here, and probably an actual floor. Although this is the redstone section, so we probably don't actually really need to change this off of endstone, but it would look nice. I'm thinking probably some sort of wood, maybe spruce probably, because it's easy to get. Hello there? Do I have 2 extra buckets to rescue them? Or are they going to despawn before we can get them? And those 2 despawned, it looks like. Oh, we'll probably have to get into this area anyway, and more will undoubtedly spawn so long as I don't light that up. But we still probably should make a different wall than endstone for the cactus pit. I don't know, maybe we'll get some sand and green concrete and some light blue concrete or something and just make a mural. I will have to play with some designs off camera or something and figure out what I want to do. But while we've been working on the rest of this, we now have almost 1.5 stacks cactus, which is not bad. But on that note, I think that is going to be it for today. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.